In the great kingdom of Akiem, there lived a hunter named Kweku. He was the most skilled in the village, but his heart was filled with greed. While other hunters took only what they needed, Kweku hunted more than he could eat and sold the rest for gold. One evening, the village elders warned him, "Greed blinds a man until he cannot see his own downfall." But Kweku laughed. The forest is vast, and there is always more to take. One night, under the full moon, Kweku ventured into the sacred part of the forest, where no man was allowed to hunt. There, he saw a massive golden antelope, shining like the sun. His eyes gleamed with greed. "With this, I will be the richest man in Akiem." Ignoring the village warnings, he drew his bow and fired. The arrow hit, but instead of blood, the antelope vanished into a cloud of golden dust. A deep voice echoed, "You have disturbed the spirits. Your greed shall be your curse." Suddenly, Kweku's hunting drum began to speak. Back in the village, Kweku sat by the fire, polishing his hunting knife. But as he touched his drum, it spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "The hunter is greedy. He steals from the spirits. Beware, beware." Kweku dropped the drum in fear. The villagers gathered, shocked. One elder gasped, "It is the curse of the forest spirit." Panicked, Kweku tried to destroy the drum, but no matter how he burned, buried, or threw it away, it always returned to him. The drum continued its chant, following him everywhere. "The hunter is greedy. He steals from the spirit." Kweku ran deep into the forest, seeking to escape the cursed drum, but the spirits were not done with him. As he ran, the trees closed in, the rivers reversed their flow, and the animals turned to shadows. Lost and starving, Kweku heard a whisper, "You took from the forest without thanks. Now the forest takes from you." Days passed, and the once great hunter was reduced to nothing, alone, hungry, and forgotten. The spirits spoke one last time. "Greed has a price, and you have paid it." In his despair, Kweku cried out to the spirits, "Forgive me, I have learned my lesson." The spirits appeared as ghostly figures in flowing robes. "If you wish to be free, you must make a sacrifice," one said. Kweku nodded desperately. "Anything. Give away all your wealth and never hunt for more than you need." With no other choice, Kweku agreed. When he stumbled back to the village, his home was gone. His gold vanished. The villagers, still afraid, watched as Kweku humbly picked up his bow and hunted only small game for survival. For a time, Kweku lived a simple life. But one night, the drum returned. It did not curse him. Instead, it whispered, "You have learned, but will you remember?" Kweku froze. He knew the spirits were watching, testing him. Would he remain humble, or would greed take over once more? He bowed his head. "I will remember." And so the drum fell silent forever. Years later, travelers spoke of a strange drum in the forest that whispered to those who sought wealth beyond their need. Some listened, some did not, and those who ignored its warning suffered the same fate as Kweku once did. The lesson of the greedy hunter and the talking drum was never forgotten. Greed leads to destruction, but wisdom comes from knowing when to take only what you need. Even when forgiven, one must always remember the lessons learned.